windy for you today with a top of 13 degrees.
It's one of the darkest days in Australia's history, the 19th of February 1942, when World War II struck home with the bombing of Darwin.
The attack by Japan was the largest single foreign assault ever on Australia. 243 people were killed and over 400 injured. Many of those who survived that day shared their stories. And now, thanks to new technology, we can all experience that history on a whole new level.
I'm Etheridge Grant. My friends call me Jim. I was the commanding officer of the USS William B. Preston. Willie B. was like a mothership to the Catalinas, enabling them to operate at sea by providing a base from which to refuel, living quarters for the air crews, and shelter from the enemy. The force of the blast reverberated across the harbor, blowing me into the water and causing burning material on red-hot metal to fall towards me.
That's amazing. So the grandchildren of Rear Admiral Etheridge Grant joins us now from Darwin. Jim and Catherine, good morning to you. Jim, first of all, you know, just put this back for us. How's the likeness?
Oh, it's great. They did a wonderful job. It's to see the actor who portrays our grandfather. It's a little eerie.
And it must be a wonderful feeling to know that the story of your granddaddy, as you called him, has been immortalised in this way. Tell us, Catherine, a little bit about your granddad's story and what happened to him on that day.
Basically, he was ashore getting supplies for the ship when the bombers came in, and he went out to try and get back to his ship and possibly rescue some of the people who were already in the water. And he and some Australians went out in a boat that they found. When the ammunition ship blew, he ended up in the water, and there's no boat around, so he swam to a nearby mooring buoy and clung to that and was there through the second wave of the attack. And then when the tide allowed, he was able to swim to shore.
Wow, amazing.
I mean,
and
like so many
took about 3 days to
Sorry to interrupt you. Carry on.
Excuse me? No, I just said it took about 3 days for him to get back to his ship. The ship had been hit and made it out of the harbor safely.
An extraordinary story. I mean, it's one of so many during World War II. But you know, Jim, can you elaborate on the after effects from then? You know, was there a struggle?
Well, he just had this unique vantage point through watching the battle, clinging to this buoy and seeing the Japanese fighters come in and shooting at the people that were in the water, and the water was on fire. So he had this wonderful vantage point of the story and watching the battle.
And the hologram that we saw and the depiction of your granddad is part of a broader tourist attraction, a new centre there in Darwin. You're there, you've had a chance to take a look at it. What's it like?
It's thrilling to see. My grandfather loved being in the Navy, and he loved that his favorite time in the Navy was the time that he spent here in Darwin and along the northern coast of Australia. He loved telling stories about it. So it's wonderful to see the hologram recreating those stories and sharing it with all of Australia.
There must be a substantial level of pride that you feel at the moment, knowing that his story is going to be played in hologram form for strangers to go and tourists to go and have a look at.
Yes, it's wonderful. We're very proud of him and the contribution that he made to this important time in Australian history.
Yeah, he was a great storyteller. He loved telling his stories, and so the idea that his story will continue to be told and shared would have thrilled him.
And have you learned a thing or two about the attack on that day? I think a lot of Australians probably aren't aware of the history of that event as well.
Yes, it's true. I too wasn't aware. You know, we obviously knew all his stories and it from his vantage point, but through this process and the bringing together the Royal Flying Doctor Service and the attack on Darwin exhibit, we've learned more. I didn't realize it was the same squadron that attacked Pearl Harbor in the U.S. that just a couple months later attacked Darwin here, for example. And there's just so much to the story. It was quite an event.
Yeah, and coming back to the story as an adult, and seeing the full story, as Jim was saying, as opposed to just hearing the stories that a grandfather would tell his grandchildren, it gives you a very different perspective.
Yep, terrific stuff. Well,
and
Jim and Catherine, that's all the time we got for. But thank you very much for joining us this morning. And you know, if anyone's up there, we do recommend they go and check it out.
Absolutely. I hope you enjoy your time in Darwin. Good
Oh,
stuff.
definitely.
Yeah.
Now we're going to keep
Thank
with
you.
our
It's
war.
been a lot of fun.
We're going to keep with our war history and 3 unknown Australian soldiers.